All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a hidden world of music. I'm talking about sounds that literally live in the cracks between the notes you and I know. We're going to explore this incredible project that's using modern tech to save and digitize the ancient, totally unique tuning systems of Ethiopia. So yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, think about it for a second. Why do they sound the same? Well, that simple question unlocks a massive secret about pretty much all the music we listen to. That sameness? It's not a coincidence, it's a choice. It's a system that, for centuries, has shaped everything we hear, and in doing so, it's pushed entire other worlds of music right to the edge of being forgotten.
So, to really understand these sounds that we're about to rediscover, first we've got to talk about the system that basically took over. There's a hidden blueprint behind almost all modern music, and you know what? It actually has a name.
And this is it, 12-tone equal temperament, or just 12-tet for short. Now, this isn't some organic, natural thing. It is a purely mathematical system. The best way to think of it is like a ruler for music. It takes the distance between one note and its higher twin, the octave, and chops it up into 12 perfectly equal little steps. It's clean, it's predictable, and it completely conquered the world of music. Now, a system like this didn't just pop up overnight. Nope. It was actually the answer to a problem that bugged musicians for centuries. See, really early tuning systems, like way back in ancient Greece, were based on these pure natural-sounding ratios. But they had this fatal flaw. When you started stacking those perfect notes on top of each other, they didn't quite line up. You'd end up with this one note that was horribly out of tune, a sound so bad they called it a wolf interval. For hundreds of years, people tried to fix it, but every single solution just seemed to create a new problem. And this right here, this table shows the great compromise of 12-tet. It wasn't about being perfect, not at all. It was about being practical. See, 12-tet gives up on having any perfectly pure notes. Technically, everything is just a tiny bit out of tune with nature's pure ratios. But in exchange for that tiny imperfection, it gets rid of those awful wolf intervals completely. And it gives musicians something that was totally revolutionary, the freedom to play in any key they want, without anything sounding terrible. And, well, that freedom was just too good to pass up. Piano makers adopted it, digital technology amplified it, and pretty soon 12-2T became the undisputed champion, the global standard. It is the invisible architecture behind basically every song on your phone, every movie score, and every synthesizer you've ever heard. But what if the goal of music isn't mathematical perfection? What if it's not about equal steps at all, but about capturing unique, expressive feelings? Well, that's where we start to find these other sounds, the music that literally lives between the keys of a modern piano. This is where you can really see two completely different ways of thinking about music. On one side, you've got 12-tet, born out of a math problem. And on the other, you have Ethiopia's traditional tunings, known as Hagetaseb. These weren't calculated in a lab, they were felt. They were discovered. They're not based on one single global system, but on dozens of local traditions. And each one has its own unique, unequal, and expressive set of notes. So how do you even create a tuning system without a calculator? Simple. You listen. You really, really listen. Traditional Ethiopian musicians tuned their instruments completely by ear, just searching for sounds that felt good, that were pleasing. They'd tune an instrument to perfectly match a particular singer's voice. They took inspiration right from the world around them. The sound of wind whistling through bamboo, the specific songs of local birds, even the cries of animals. These tunings were alive, you know? They could even change with the seasons. But these beautiful, organic sound worlds, they've been fading away, kind of pushed aside by the global standard. But one researcher, Qignit, decided to do something about it. He set out to build a digital key, a way to unlock these sounds for the modern world so they wouldn't be lost forever. And where did he start? With a massive campaign of what you could call digital archaeology. Tay collected around 400 different audio recordings of traditional musicians. These are people who tune by feel, not with some electronic tuner. And the sources were all over the place. Old YouTube clips, forgotten documentaries, academic field recordings, just scattered everywhere. The process of turning these old, dusty sounds into brand new digital tools is just fascinating. So, step one, You collect the recordings. Step 2, you run them through specialized software that can pinpoint the exact frequency, the raw vibration in the air of every single note. Step 3 involves a little bit of math, converting those raw frequencies into a musical unit called cents. And then finally, all that data gets plugged into another tool that spits out a special file, basically a digital blueprint of that ancient tuning system. And this is what that whole translation looks like in practice. On the left, you've got the raw sound frequencies that the software picked up from a recording. And on the right, you see how that's been converted into these precise musical intervals measured in cents. This isn't just abstract data. This is the literal DNA of a unique musical tradition reverse-engineered from a simple audio clip.
And what's so amazing is that this process doesn't just spit out the same old 12-note scale we're used to. No way. In this particular example, it generated a totally unique 7-note scale. Each one of these traditional Hegerisse tunings has its own number of notes and its own special spacing. It's like a true sonic fingerprint of where it came from.
Okay, so we've got the digital file, the blueprint, but how do you actually play these forgotten sounds? This is where the real magic happens, turning all this preservation work into something any musician anywhere can actually use.
You'd be shocked at how simple it is. Seriously, you just download the special tuning file, then you open up a compatible piece of music software, and a lot of these are totally free. You poke around in the settings, find the tuning menu, and just load the file. And boom, instantly your modern, high-tech digital instrument is completely retuned, ready to play notes it was never ever designed to create. And that, of course, is the million-dollar question, isn't it? After all this incredible work, what does it actually feel like to hear one of these sounds? A sound that's been dormant, brought back to life by a piece of software.
Well, be ready for something different. Because our ears have been trained, basically since birth, on the clean mathematical perfection of 12 teeth, these traditional tunings can sound strange. They might even sound off-key or dissonant at first, but they aren't wrong. They're just following a completely different kind of logic. Not the logic of math, but the logic of human feeling, of nature, and of deep cultural tradition.
So this whole project isn't just about looking backwards into the past. It's about cracking open a door to a whole new sonic future, about expanding the very definition of what music can even be in our digital world. The creator of the project, Kamlok Tai, said it perfectly. At its core, the goal here is preservation. This work is creating a permanent digital archive, like a cultural seed bank for endangered sounds, making sure that they can be studied and, more importantly, heard by generations to come. So, at the end of the day, why does all this matter? Well, first, it's about preservation, building a digital ark to save these unique sounds from disappearing. It's also an act of musical decolonization, pushing back against the idea that there's only one right way to tune an instrument. For artists, it opens up a brand new palette of expressive colors to create with. And maybe most importantly, it helps preserve and define a vital piece of Ethiopia's unique cultural identity. This whole incredible project really makes you wonder, doesn't it? By mixing ancient tradition with modern tools, we've unlocked an entire lost world of sound. And it leaves you with this one final, powerful question. What other cultural treasures, in music, in art, in language, are out there, just hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to build the right key so they can finally be heard?